Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I guess it kind of depends on when you're watching this video. But today I'm here to talk to you about science notebooks, something that I love. And now you're like, but Miss Sherman, aren't we going to be online at some point probably during the year? Why are we going to use a real notebook? Let me tell you. Because it is scientifically proven that actually writing something out helps you to learn it better. So I also think it's really important that you learn skills like making graphic organizers, how to take written notes and things like that. So we will be doing paper notebooks, but Ms. Sherman, how are you going to check our paper notebooks if we're at home? Great answer. We're going to use Flipgrid. So every notebook check, you'll receive the rubric ahead of time, and you will go through and you're going to end up making a short video up to 2 minutes, and you're actually going to open your notebook and you're going to show me what you did and talk to me about what you learned, and that will be how you're graded for your notebooks. So there's a couple things that I want to show you, and we're actually going to get our notebooks ready for the school year together. So please pause. All right, so the first thing I want to talk to you about notebooks is what kind of notebook to get. Now, I want you to get a notebook that has a plasticky cover. I don't want you to get a notebook with a paper cover, and here's why. These last longer, and generally these are the right size. I want you to be able to, this is wrong by the way, don't look at this. I want you to be able to take a normal piece of paper, and it should be able to be within the size of your notebook, okay? So you should be able to take a normal piece of computer printed paper, and it should fit inside of your notebook. I don't want you to have to fold things. I don't want you to have to trim things when we glue them in. So that's really important. The next thing that's really awesome about these plasticky covered ones is usually they have some type of folder inside. So when you get papers like this, you can put them in that folder and you can stay nice and organized. This is harder than it looks efforts. Look at that. And then when I close my notebook, it fits. Okay? Also, these ones have 100 sheets of paper, which is important. So you should have lots of pages. If you get one that does not have a spiral, it's probably going to fall apart. Doing this for a little while, get one with a plasticky cover. Walmart has them for like $1. Target has them for a little bit more. You can get the really fancy ones, but please only get a one subject, okay? Don't get a huge subject notebook. It's just going to be a lot more for you to carry around if/when we're in person. So at this point in time, I still don't know. It's a surprise. Now, this purple notebook is cool. But you know what would make it a lot cooler? If it actually looked like it was mine. So the first thing you're gonna do, and the first thing that I'm checking on your very first notebook check, is if you decorated the cover. So there's a couple different ways you can do this. One, you can get these metallic-y Sharpie markers. They have them in a bunch of different colors. They're really cool. They work really well on here. You can also take pictures and cut them out and glue them on here, or magazines or anything, and then just put clear plastic packing tape over the top and it'll stick. So first task is decorating the cover. Now I'm gonna do mine. Be nice to me. I'm not a very good artist. All right, it might be a little hard to see, but it is definitely decorated. It is definitely mine, and it looks a little bit unique. So here it is. Now, after you're done decorating the cover, and actually I used a blue Sharpie and that kind of worked too. The silver ones work, the black ones probably would have worked. Just depends on your color scheme. So, all right, now that we have this, the next thing you have to do is you have to number your pages. Now, I know you hate this part. I know it. It happens every year, but it's really important. So, what you're going to do is you're going to open your notebook to the very first page, the page that is right next to your folder, okay? And in the bottom outside corner. Now, the reason I have you do it right here is because then when you're looking for a page, all you have to do is flip like this and you can see all the page numbers. So this one is going to be page 1. Page 1, right there. Please use a pencil. Even I mess up, okay? Please use pencil. So we have page 1, then I'm going to flip it. And then on this side, we have page 2. And then this side we have page 3. And then we have page 4 and page 5. And you keep going until you number all the pages. So if you buy a notebook that has 100 pages, since we're doing the front and back, you should get up about 200. Okay, if your numbers are slightly off, that's all right. but you should get up until about 200. This is gonna take a couple minutes. I highly recommend you putting on some music and just sit and go through it and just make it through. So I'm gonna keep going for a minute and then I will hopefully speed this up. We'll see if I can do that. Let's see how good my technology skills are. It's been a little while since I've videoed. All right, so I'm gonna open it up so my notebook pages are side to side. I got page 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here we go. Ta-da! All done. So now that my pages are numbered all the way through, and I can flip through them to check because they're all done in the outside corner. That makes my life so much easier. Now, if you've had me before, you're probably familiar with this next thing that we're gonna do. And if you haven't, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna make a table of contents for our notebook. And the reason we make a table of contents for our notebook is just like any book, we wanna be able to find information quick. So when you're there and you're trying to look for something, you don't want to have to look through every single page when you can look at the table of contents and say, oh, that's at page 50, and then you just go straight to page 50 and it's there. So we do everything on the same page in my class. So if we're doing an assignment and I tell you to do it on page 3, you need to do it on page 3 because all of us are doing it on page 3. Now that makes it so much easier because if you're missing a page, you can go to your friend and be like, hey, what's supposed to be on page 3? And it also is so much more organized when we go to grade it. So you shouldn't be having blank pages in the middle of your notebook. We're always going to go in order. Now, how do you know what goes on every page? So as we go, I will tell you specifically what page assignments go on. And I will also keep a digital table of contents using a Google Sheet. That will be very accessible to you. I will make sure you know where it is. But the way that we're going to set it up is we're back at the front of our notebook. You can see my folder right here in my front cover. At the very top, I'm going to write the words table of contents. Table of contents. Nice and big, because that's our title, table of contents. Now we're going to make essentially 3 columns. So in this first one, right here next to the spiral is going to be where the date goes. So we're going to put the date in that column. Then the next column, the really long one where you normally write, that's going to be the title of the page. The page title. Okay, so far you can see I have the date that's going to go in this column right here on the side of the red line. Then the page title is going to be the one that goes all the way across because sometimes the titles get long. And then in this other margin over here, this is where we're going to put the page number. So page number. And I'm going to use the pound sign, which you're going to call a hashtag, but it's a pound sign, it means number. So we're going to put the page number there. Since we know all of our pages are in numerical order, we're going to number the pages. So making your table of contents is going to take a couple sheets of paper. Usually it takes me 4 to 5 pages. So I'll have table of contents on page 1, page 2, page 3, page 4. Let me show you before you do it. So this is what the first page of my table of contents looks like. And you'll notice I numbered all the way down to the bottom and my last number was 32. So it might be different for you, that's okay, just number all the lines. Now what I need to do is I need to turn to page 2 in my notebook. And we're gonna continue the table of contents on page 2. So on my page 2, that's a sloppy 2, I'll fix it. But on page 2, we're gonna make another page for table of contents. So again, at the title, you're gonna write table of contents. And then you're going to put the date all the way on the left. And then you're going to put the page title. And then all the way on the right, you're going to put the page number. Again, you can use the hashtag pound sign if you want to. So since I left off on the front on page 32, on this one, on my page 2 in my notebook that now looks like this, I'm gonna start numbering on this side with number 33. Okay, so 33 is gonna go down like that until I stop. And then I'm gonna keep going. So I'm probably gonna need a couple pages of my table of contents. And you can stop making your table of contents when you get down to 150. Okay, so whenever you get to page number 150, you can stop. If we need more, we can go back and add it later, but I don't want to make you do it if we don't need it. So for me, number 150 ended me on page 5. It might end you on page 6 in your notebook. That's okay, don't worry about it. You need to get to page number 150. That's the important part. Now what we're gonna do is we have to add our table of contents to our table of contents. Wow. Inception. Okay, so we're going to go back to page 1. And the first thing you're gonna do is you're gonna add today's date. So for you, it might be different. And for me, obviously, I'm doing this during the summer. So I'm going to put the first day of school, which is August 17th. So I'm gonna do under date, I'm gonna do 8-17-20. And then the page title for page number 1 is going to be table of contents. So let me show you what that looks like. It seems kind of silly to put the table of contents in the table of contents, but it's important. Otherwise, we wouldn't know it was on those pages later on, and we wouldn't line things up right. So you'll see that for page number 1, where it says page number 1 here, if you follow it over, you can see where it says table of contents. So since my table of contents takes up 5 pages, for pages 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, I'm all gonna put today's date. 8-17-20 and table of contents. Table of contents, you get to write it 5 times, maybe 6. That's okay, it's just good practice on spelling. Please spell it right, I just showed you. 8-17-20, table of contents. And last one for me, table of contents. This is for number 5. Okay. So it should look like that. Now, if you went on to page 6, that's okay. If you did not go on to page 6, you're gonna write this. You're gonna write the words intentionally blank. And the reason you're gonna write that is because since some people need page 6 and others don't, if you don't need it, we're still gonna mark it as something in our table of contents, but that page will be a blank page. The first assignment we're gonna do in our notebook is gonna start on page 7. So if you don't have table of contents on page 6, I want you to write intentionally INTENTIONALLY blank BLANK, and then put the same date, 8-17-20. So that's for page number 6. So your table of contents should look something like this so far. Okay, and so this is going to be really important. We're going to use this throughout the whole year, the table of contents. So I want you to get comfortable with it. It's also important because if you use resource books, I know everything's online, but if you use resource books, they always use table of contents, and I want you to be familiar with them. So that's what I'm looking for your first notebook check. So for your first notebook check, all you're going to need to show me is that your cover is done. You are going to need to flip me through your pages so that I can see that they are numbered. And then you're going to need to show me that your table of contents is set up. And if you've gotten those 3 things done, that is a perfect notebook score for your first time around. So you just show me, hey, I got that one, and I have my table of contents all the way up to number 150. Okay. Miss Sherman, give me a good score. Yes, you get a good score. Okay, that's all it takes. So that's how you set up your notebook.